This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone and Root Well, and salutation to the Akins, pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, I want to get into something rather simple and like dealing with people on the highways and the hedges, or just in general conversation when you're talking to someone and it goes to the left with the scriptures. Okay, it's the scriptures on not arguing with fools. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with Romans chapter 16 verse 17. It says, "Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them." So that's what we should be doing. Okay, if someone don't agree with what we saying, what's the point? What's the point in arguing with them? Okay, mark them as, okay, this dude out there, and avoid them. You see him, if you live in the same town with him or whatever, you see him in the store or whatever, hey, we don't see eye to eye, what's up? And be about your business, you know? All right? But it says avoid them. Avoid that conversation with them. All right? Proverbs 14:7. Go from the presence of a foolish man when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge. Like, you get a lot of people that think they actually know something, and they're dumb. And they don't understand what they're speaking is that they're spewing like just dumbness, you know? It's like, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. Like with scriptures like John 3:16, they'll just blab it out, not understanding the definition of the word worlds. Or when you read John 3:14, how it goes to Moses with the serpent and the snakes, like he lifted up the children of the serpents to the children of Israel, the same way Yahweh Shah was going to have to be lifted to the children of Israel. They don't understand that though. Okay, the precepts of them are taught by the precepts of men. You know, their understanding, they're being taught by unlearned men who don't know what they're talking about. You know, blind lead the blind, they both walk into the ditch. All right, this is 1 Timothy 6:20. It says, "O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science falsely so called." Like profane babbling, man. Just like people get up there and just like those demons will jump on people, and it'll just be a shouting match, you know? It's like just cackling. No one's getting edified. Okay, it's a shouting contest. So you just avoid these people, man. Instead of wasting your energy talking to them, there could be energy you burn on feeding the flock, feeding the elect, okay? Because trust me, at the end of the day, if you argue with a pastor in a Christian church, all he's gonna do is tell you things he learned in seminary school, which is foolishness, okay? So that's all you're gonna get. He's not gonna change or digress from what he learned, and you are not either, because you're in the truth. You know, they really believe what they're teaching is true. You know, so said and oppositions of science falsely so called, like the things that they learn in this world, science, evolution. Okay, truth falsely so called. Okay, so called is like, okay, they believe in these things that don't necessarily make them out to be true. Dinosaurs billions of years ago, which is nonsense. All right. This is 1 Timothy 6:4. It said, He is proud, knowing nothing but doting about questions and strifes of words, whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, and evil summorsings. Like they calling demons. Like you start stirring up those spirits by like screaming and shouting and yelling and strife. Before you know it, you into a fight because a demon done jumped on them. They messed around and one and jumped on you because you yelling back and forth with them. And it's like when you're a man and you dealing with certain things, it's like, man, you have to really know how to hold your composure. I mean, keep your composure and hold yourself, because otherwise, man, you'll be looking crazy just like they are. And like somebody come in your face and talking, man, you just be wanting to hit them, you know, because they never know. Sometimes you have to, like the things they have going on at home, or let's say you're going through some things on your job or with your old lady, you know what I'm saying? You might be going through some things and that'll be on your mind. You have to, when you shooting these videos, man, and you bringing this truth out, the saying is you got to leave everything at the doorstep, close that, and pick that back up if you have to after you shoot the video. But your mind should be focused on feeding the flock, all right? Let me get 2 Timothy 2:23. It said, but foolish and unlearned questions avoid, knowing that they do gender strifes. They bring forth contention. Okay? If someone asking a question and it's stupid, it's like, man, what does that question have to do with anything? It says avoid that. Okay? Like, get away from it. Like, what's the point of this person asking this question? Sometimes they'll come up and do that purposely. Those demons will jump on them purposely just to start strife. Just to have a conversation to where it's an argument. You know, because sometimes they want you to do something to them, to hit them or something, you know. But we don't want to be carnal minded. You know, sometimes those demons, like, people talk to you and it'll drive you there, man, because it's like people are just so stupid and they think they're right in their stupidity. All right? This is 1 Timothy 1:4. Neither give heed to fables and endless genealogies. So people talking about we ham, believing all these other nations of people, and it's just like constantly, when does it end? It says which ministers questions. Like, if you don't be too careful, they'll have you thinking like, damn, am I really motherfucking from the tribe of Judah or whatever? You know? But that's why it says neither give heed to fables. A fable that's fake. That's just false things. Endless genealogies. Okay, your blood, you take a DNA test, you got a circle and you got, I'm part Native American, I'm part this, part that, part African. You know what I'm saying? That's endless genealogies, man. You know, that's why we discern everything through the Spirit. All right? It says, rather than godly edifying, which is in faith, so do. So when we bring all these things out, we do it in faith. You know, because truth be told, we can't just tie ourselves to the tribe of Judah or the tribe of Ephraim, Manasseh, Benjamin, Levi, so on and so forth. We can't do that. But through the Spirit, we do it, okay? Through faith, okay? This is 2 Timothy 2:23. But foolish and unlearned questions avoid, knowing that they do gender strifes. Okay, so it's constantly going to bring forth those demons. You're going to catch yourself arguing, all right? Titus 3:9. But avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentions and strivings about the law. Oh, that's a big one right there. It's like, well, we don't keep the law no more. And you give people a million scriptures telling them, like, man, it tells you right here, I haven't, till heaven and earth pass away, shall none in the law. You know what I'm saying? Just roughly paraphrasing. Like, the laws are here. I mean, how could the laws be done away with when he coming back to judge? What is he judging you on? Okay, like he have to judge you on something. If you judge someone, it's normally something off a law that they broke. You have to be judged from it. So people just run around thinking you can do whatever the hell you want to do. But that makes no sense if he coming back to judge the world. Okay? It says, for they are unprofitable and vain. So by you arguing with these people thinking that the law done away with, you're doing it in vain. Because at the end of the day, just because you say not to eat pork, that's how they looking at you. They don't look at us like prophets of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They look at us just like some niggas on the corner who don't know what they talking about. Okay? And then they rather hear smooth things. Okay? They don't want to hear. One thing about our people, man, they hate laws. They hate living, not thinking that they're in full control of their own life. If they want to go out and party and sleep with other men's wives and things of that nature, they want to do that. They don't want nobody telling them you're wrong for doing it. Well, I'm going to let God judge me. Only God is my judge or whatever. You know? They don't understand the scripture and how this setup is. They just don't understand it, and they won't, because it wasn't meant for them to understand, okay? It's Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, 8 and 17. Consult not with a fool, for he cannot keep counsel. Like by you talking to him. If he a fool and you see he don't understand the scriptures, just like, okay, man, have a nice day and be done with it. Because if not, he cannot keep counsel. That means he cannot understand what you're going into. He won't get it. All right? Ecclesiasticus 18 and 27. A wise man will fear in everything. Keep the Most High in everything, okay? If you about to eat something, you really like, okay, you like, man, let me make sure there's no have no pork in it, or things of that nature, okay? It says, and in the day of sinning, he will beware of offenses, but a fool will not observe time. A fool, he like, man, look, when it says observe time, that means you watching. You watching for the signs of Yahweh Shai coming back, of making his return. You're like, oh man, they've been saying that was going to happen years and years and years, and it still haven't happened. Okay? But the wise man that's taking heed to this, that's what they're going to do. They're going to be watching, and they're going to beware. Like, they don't want to offend the Most High. Okay? They don't want to be like, okay, you don't want to listen? Well, have this happen to him. Okay? Ecclesiasticus 20 and 7. A wise man will hold his tongue till he see opportunity. It's another thing. A lot of people come out and they get so overzealous to prove a point. You know, they're so excited to prove a point that it's not do everything decently and in order. It's more of, I'm going to shout over you. I'm going to get my point across. And it's not like, okay, you speak, I'm going to listen. I speak, you going to listen. Okay? That's how the only way you're going to get something across to each other. Otherwise, it's just yakety, yakety, yak. It says, but a babbler and a fool will regard no time. You know, so he's just going to keep constantly talking. All right? It's Ecclesiasticus 21 and 14. The inner parts of a fool are like a broken vessel, and he will hold no knowledge as long as he liveth. It's like a vessel. This like, he that believeth on me, as the scriptures have said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living waters. So this knowledge is like water, but a fool is like a broken vessel. Okay? If you got a vase and it's broke and you glue it together, that's like yours. It's like Swiss cheese. You pour the water into that vessel, it's not gonna hold it because it's full of holes. Okay? Let's see. Ecclesiasticus 21 and 18. It says, as is a house that is destroyed, so is wisdom to a fool. and the knowledge of the unwise is as talk without sense. So they basically talking and not making no sense of what they're saying. It's like a house. I mean, you can't live in a house. Knowledge is not going. No one can live in a house if it's a wrecking ball just went through it and like all the 2x4s and sheetrock and everything on the ground. You can't live in that house. So a man that's a fool is not going to be able to obtain and hold knowledge of these scriptures of truth. All right. Ecclesiasticus 22, verse 8 and 11. It says, "He that telleth a tale to a fool speaketh to one in a slumber." Okay? Someone sleep. If you telling them something, they sleep. Is like you telling someone a story, but you telling it to a fool. It's like it's falling on deaf ears. He's not going to understand what you're saying. It says, when he hath told his tale, he will say, "What is the matter?" He looking at you like you crazy. If you tell someone, like, okay, we're the children of Yasharallah, all right? When the one you ignorantly call Jesus come back, we're going to be put on top of everybody. We're going to be kings. We're going to rule the earth. We're going to rule the planet, all right? And we're going to have slaves and all that. They look at you like, damn, something wrong with this dude, bruh. And I've had that happen to me on a personal basis, okay? They look at you like, man, something can't be right about what you're saying, you know? But 11, it says, "Weep for the dead, for he hath lost his light, and weep for the fool, for he wanteth understanding. Make little weeping for the dead, for he is at rest. But the life of a fool is worse than death." Because if they dead, if you're alive and dead at the same time, that's what a fool. That's what it's telling you. A fool is someone that's alive and dead and at the same time. They're like walking around, but they're basically zombies. Okay, like if you see The Walking Dead or watch zombie movies, they can't talk. Okay, they can't do things with a straight mind. Okay, like they're just walking around, going through the motions, lost in the sauce. That's what they are. They're just walking around on an everyday basis, going through the motions like everything's good, but in reality, it's like, man, they don't really understand what's going on. All right? So it's worse than death. You know, they better off just being dead than not understanding what's really going on. All right, Ecclesiasticus 22 and 11. It says, hold on. Okay, that was 11. Let me get Ecclesiasticus 42 and 8. It says, "Be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish, and the extreme age that contended with those that are young." Some people will tell you, boy, I've been on this planet a long time. I've been on this earth a long time. There ain't nothing you gonna tell me that's trying to put new wine in old vessels. It's just not gonna happen. Some people are not willing to learn. They think the way that they have is the way, okay? It says, "Thus shalt thou be truly learned and approved of all men living." So you have to be learned, okay? You have to be reading constantly, and you have to be proved. You know what I'm saying? Of all men living. Somebody come up to you and need an understanding of a certain scripture, you should be able to break it down and give it to them. All right. This is Ecclesiasticus 41 and 15. It says, "A man that hideth his foolishness is better than a man that hideth his wisdom." That's a deep saying. If you hiding your foolishness, not by basically keeping your mouth shut, you wiser than a man that has wisdom. You know what I'm saying? You basically wiser than him. Because if two men walking around with their mouth closed, you're not going to know what this person knows or what that person knows. Okay? So it's better if you just keep your mouth shut if you don't know what you're talking about. Or don't deal with people like that. All right? Ecclesiasticus, 34, 1 and 2. It says, the hopes of a man void of understanding are vain and false. So it's no hope for him. And dreams lift up fools. You dreaming. You know what I'm saying? Like, people say things and it's like, man, you out of your mind. All right? Whosoever regardeth dreams is like him that catcheth a shadow and follow after the wind. Like, you're not going to catch a shadow. Okay? And you can't follow the wind because you don't know what direction it's going. It's a circular thing. Okay? It's like it could be going that way, like you don't know. So it's basically telling you that's the hopes of a fool. It's in vain. It's pointless. Okay? Ecclesiastes 33:5, it says, the heart of the foolish is like a cartwheel, and his thoughts are like a rolling axle tree. So a cartwheel circles. The mind of a man is just like the same thing over and over and over again. Okay? Ecclesiastes 31:7-30, it says, it is a stumbling block unto them that sacrifice unto it, and every fool shall be taken therewith. Stumble is like wisdom to them that sacrifice unto it. Okay, it says, drunkenness increaseth the rage of a fool till he offend. It diminisheth strength and maketh wounds. Okay? Basically, they just don't understand. They not going to get it. They're fools. And like what you say to them, they're so drunk that it's offensive to them. They're not drunk like drinking alcohol, but they're drunk off the philosophies of this world. Okay? So things you can say to certain people, it offends them. God love everybody. They so drunk off the philosophies of Esau that they don't believe it, and they're offended by what you're telling them, even though it's the truth. Okay? It diminishes strength, make people weak, and make wounds. Like, you would start arguing with a fool, you get to fighting and you bruised up. Or you could be spiritually bruised from trying to deal with these idiots. Ecclesiastes 27:11-13, it says, the discourse of a godly man is always with wisdom, but a fool changes as the moon. Like, you look at the moon, it's constantly changing. Constantly changing. Always with wisdom. Like, if you are a man of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, you always deal wisely. Okay? It said, but a fool changes as the moon. 13, it says, the discourse of a fool is irksome. Like, man, you talk to some of these people, man, and it just irks you. You just want to knock the hell out of them. Like, man, you stupid and you don't even know you stupid. It says, and their sport is the wantonness of sin. It's like they like arrogant with it. You know, it's like I know what I'm talking about, and it's just irksome. It's just something they do that make you like, man, I want to knock the hell out of this dude. All right? Ecclesiastes 22:13, it says, talk not much with the fool, and go not to him that hath no understanding. Beware of him, lest thou have trouble, and thou shalt never be defiled with his foolishness. Let's see what it is. I have to take this out. Okay. All right. It says, talk not much with the fool, and go not to him that hath no understanding. So basically, don't waste your time talking to him. It says, beware of him, lest thou have trouble, and thou shalt never be defiled with his fooleries. Depart from him, and thou shalt find rest, and never be disquieted. I done got myself in a rut. It says disquieted with madness. So you argue with a fool, that's exactly what you're going to get. Madness. That's what you're going to get. Because he's mad. So by you basically arguing with him, you're not making yourself no better than he is, because he a fool, and he making you look like a fool because you're arguing with him. Okay? All right. Hope this was edifying to you, brother. Sorry about the camera difficulties. All praise to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. Shalom.